All right. So actually, since we're going to open up do some hips today, let's start laying down. So laying down on your back, and you can have your knees bent and your feet on the floor, and just separate your feet a little wider. Let your knees just kind of fall together in the middle, and just feel the floor beneath you. See if you can roll your shoulders back underneath you just a little bit, flattening out the shoulder blades. So you feel like you have a nice solid foundation beneath you, beneath the shoulders. Just take a few deep breaths in and out here. I'm not going to relax all the way, but begin to just notice where you might be holding tension in your shoulders or anywhere else, and just relax what you can. Feel the floor beneath the soles of your feet. Feel where your weight is resting behind the hips, the shoulders. Feel the backs of your hands on the floor. Making a transition into a little more yogic state of mind. All right. So we're going to begin to move a little bit. So on your back, knees bent, basically the same position, but separate your feet a little wider, even. So like I have my pinky toes are off my mat. And then scoot your feet, your heels a little farther away from your sitting bones. So it's a looser bend in the knees. And we're just going to slowly rock the knees back and forth, kind of like windshield wipers. So we're working or experiencing inner rotation and outer rotation of the femur bone in the hip socket. You could bring a little more mindfulness to the movement by bringing your attention to the back body and feeling as your weight shifts from left to right across that. It's sort of like your upper glutes. So just having a little movement here. And then come back to center. You can walk your feet back in a little bit, so they're more like hip distance apart. And let's pick up that right knee, and we're going to just make some circles. So we're starting with movement before stretching, warming up the hip sockets, the soft tissues inside the joints, and then we can stretch the muscles around the joint. Good. Go in the other direction. Make circles with your knee. One direction is always a little harder than the other. And then we'll bring that foot back to the floor and pick up your left knee and make some circles with the left knee. We're sort of stirring the femur bone, the head of the femur bone in the hip socket. And then we'll go around in the other direction. Bring that left leg, left foot back to the floor. We're going to keep the knees bent for now and lift your right leg straight up. So your left leg stays on the floor in that bent position. Reach for your right thigh, and keeping your right leg as straight as you can, just start to pull that leg towards you. So the main action is straightening the leg. That's number one. Number two is just kind of pulling it in. Find that place where it stops. You feel the stretch up and down the back of your leg and just hold there. See if you can relax your shoulders. And then keeping the shoulders relaxed, still stretching this right leg. Press your left foot down into the floor just a little. So we're stabilizing with that left foot. Just activating a little energy through the left leg, stabilizing the posture, because the next thing we're going to do is take the right leg into the right hand and open it out to the side. So I want you to try to keep both hips on the ground. A little weight's going to lift up off of the left hip, but you've got that left foot and leg active to ground. So you're not tumping all the way over to the right. Stretch through that right leg, flex the foot. Good, and then we'll lift that leg all the way back up. Now staying in this basic position with your left leg where it is, we're gonna take a breath right here. And then as you exhale, lower that right leg toward the floor out in front of you. Don't go all the way down, just hover. And then inhale to lift the leg all the way back up. Then we're gonna go to the side. Exhale to lower that right leg toward the side. And inhale to lift it back up. Exhale to lower the leg toward the front of your mat. Inhale to lift it back up. Exhale to the side. Inhale up. Exhale to the front. Inhale up. Exhale to the right. Inhale to lift it back up. One more each way. Exhale, stretching out in front of you. Inhale to lift up. And exhale to the side. Inhale to lift up. All right, from here, same leg. We're going to cross the right ankle to the left knee. You can extend your arms out left and right. I have animals in my way. We're going to let the legs fall over to the left. So now we're getting into a little stretch around these muscles, the piriformis muscle and the glutes. It's a little bit of a spinal twist, but I don't think it's too much of a twist to your belly. So you just kind of keep both shoulders on the ground and just let those legs fall over to the left as far as they go. We're going to pause here, try to relax that right leg. Relaxing the top leg so you're not pushing or pulling. You're just letting gravity pull, a little twist, a little stretch around this hip. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Long, deep breaths in and out. Maybe 10 breaths. So in this gentle practice, in this gentle practice, in these long holds, we're going for softness rather than endurance and strength. So let your body relax as much as you can. Keep your breath flowing evenly. Long inhales and long exhales. One more deep breath in and out. And then as you inhale, roll back onto your back, lifting the legs back up. And then we'll uncross the right ankle, put that right foot back on the floor. And then you can sort of rock your knees left and right again. we'll come back to center. 2 feet flat on the floor, about hip distance apart. Feet are parallel. And then we're going to lift up that left leg straight. Reach for it with your hands and begin to pull that leg a little closer. So the first action, keeping the leg as straight as you can. If this is enough of a stretch, you stay there. If you want more, you use the hands, pull it a little closer. Activate your right leg so that you're grounding. You're sort of pressing into the ball or the whole sole of the right foot. Breathing in and out. Never holding the breath. Good. So keeping the engagement on the right leg, since it's your ground, it's your standing leg, we're going to open the left leg now out to the side. You can hold on to it with your left hand. We're trying to keep both shoulders on the ground and both hips on the floor as much as you can. So the right hip, the weight's going to shift a little. We just don't want to like fall all the way over. We're just kind of finding this place where gravity gets to do a little pulling on that leg. Stretch of the inner thigh, outer hip. And then we'll use an inhale to lift that leg back up all the way. Good. So now we're gonna up and down. So your inhale is with the leg lifted. On your exhale, you lower that leg straight with control toward the floor, but not all the way down. And then as you inhale, you lift it all the way back up. Moving slow, exhale, taking the leg out to the side. Inhale to lift it back up. Going slow so we can feel how heavy the leg is. Exhale to the front, nice and slow with control. Inhale to lift it back up. Exhale to the side. Inhale up. Exhale to the front. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale to the side. Inhale, lift it back up. One more each way. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Good. Now we bend the left knee. Take the left ankle to the right knee. And take arms out to either side. And we're just going to keep this figure 4 shape with the legs. Let the legs fall over to the right. Keep your left shoulder on the ground. Just go as far as you can. And then let that top leg relax. And a hold here, just like before, for about 10 breaths. Softening through each long exhale. Just a few more breaths on this side. Not pushing, not pulling, just letting gravity do this. The longer we stay the more sensation may arise. And then lift yourself back up, rolling back onto your back. Good. We'll uncross that leg and then stretch out a full body stretch, arms up over your head, straightening both legs. Bend both knees. And we're going to roll to your right side. Rolling just to your right side, and you can rest your head on your hand. So the whole right side of the body is down. You want to try to stack the legs. And so from here, you're going to take your left leg, the top leg, and just kind of swing it forward in front of you and just put it on the ground. So we're keeping it straight. It's the inside edge of your foot is on the floor. And now we're going to stretch that right leg, quadricep. So you're going to bend your right knee and reach behind you for that foot. So there's variations here. You can, if just catching your foot is a challenge, I can't see you, so I'm just going to give you all the options. You can stay here, pulling the heel towards you. If you catch the foot, no problem. You're going to start to lower that heel toward the floor as you pull it toward the right hip. So close to its own hip. If this is enough, you stay here. If you want more stretch, you're going to roll back a little with the left shoulder and head, sort of bringing your left shoulder more back toward the floor. Now you're going to also feel something going on in that left hip. So it's a stretch of the right quad and a stretch around the outer left hip. Cat pulling its own tail. That's a funny name. Cat pulling its own tail. Good, then release that bottom foot. Stretch that right leg back out. Come back onto your side all together. Pull that left leg back and stack the legs. So now keeping your head resting on your hands, we're gonna lift up the left leg, turn, outer spiral that leg so the knee starts to point more toward the ceiling, the knee and the toes. Then bend that knee, reach for it and hug it towards you. Try to keep grounding down through that whole right leg. Breathing in and out. You can turn this ankle, make circles with your left ankle. Good. Release that leg, stack them again. Beautiful. We're going to switch sides so you can roll on your back to roll over to the other side. So you're on your left side, cradling your head in your hands, stacking the legs. So even just balancing here takes a little core. And then we're going to take the top leg, the right leg, kick it forward, and just bring it to the floor. Straight. It's kind of as straight as you can get it. Everyone's going to have their own range. You may be here. You may be way up here. Ugh, I'm somewhere in between. Mama bear. And then you're going to bend that bottom leg, reach behind you for the foot. You're just catching the foot, or you're starting to lower that left heel toward the floor behind you as you pull the heel in toward the left hip, or you're beginning to roll back, right shoulder toward the floor. Feeling what you feel, big stretch. Good, come back, up, release that bottom leg. We're gonna stack the top leg again. Coming back into this Vishnu's repose. Now lift up that right leg about a foot, and then we're rotating, we're turning the leg in the hip socket so that the knee and toes point up. You're grounding down through the outside of this whole left leg. Bend your right knee, keeping the knee pointing up, reach for it and hug it in towards you. Keep using that bottom leg for stability. It's a really funny way to find stability, actually, because usually for stability in all the standing postures, you're going to be hugging the midline. And here we're using the bottom leg to push down away from the midline of the body. It's a little different. And then we'll lower that right leg back, stacking the legs. Good. From here, press yourself up. We're going to come onto all fours, hands and knees. Good. And I've got this little dog behind me that's right in the wrong place. So we're going to do a little cat-cow breathing. So the tops of your feet are flat on the floor. Your hands are beneath your shoulders. Your knees are beneath your hips. It seems so obvious, but this would be an option. So not this, but more here. As you inhale, you're going to arch the back, dropping the belly, lift your chin. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, push into the floor with straight arms, tuck your chin. Inhale, lower your chest, lower your belly, tailbone up, chin up. Exhale to the other direction. Inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale and exhale. Good. One more inhale. One more exhale. Good. Coming back to center, we're going to take the hips around in circles. So just find your own range of motion here. Again, we're swinging the hips, so we're getting into the hip socket through movement. Just alternating like movement, lubrication in the joints with stretching the muscles around those joints. Good. Come back around the other way. And we're also going to use the muscles around those joints, which we're going to do next. All right. So here, back to all fours. We're going to pick up your right knee like a dog. Then take your knee towards your tricep. Good. Then take it back all the way and straighten the leg. Good. Then bend the knee, take it out to the side, and then close it closer to the tricep. Stretch it all the way back. This is going to be your inhale. Exhale, knee out to the side, to the tricep. Inhale all the way back. Good. Last one. Exhale, knee to the side, tricep, inhale, all the way back. Good. Put your right knee on the floor. And we'll do the second side. So we're starting out just lifting it straight out to the side, and then we're pulling it in. Good. Then inhale, you stretch it back, you square the hips, turn the toe and knee to face the floor. Then it's exhale to the side, and then tricep. Inhale, and then turn those toes and knees to face the floor. Good. Exhale, and inhale. Good. Last one. Exhale, and all the way, and inhale, stretching it back. Good. Bring both knees to the floor. All right. So from here, bring your big toes together and separate your knees wide, like maybe as wide as your mat, and then press back. Hips to heels. It's a wide knee child's pose. I'm kind of staying up. If you're okay lowering down, just lower down as far as feels good to you, but staying up is fine. This is what I'm going for, is this bend in the hips here with a little outer rotation more than anything else. Good. I'm going to lift back up, walk the knees back to hip distance apart. All right. So now step your left knee to the center, take up your right leg. So we're going to cross the legs behind. You're bringing the right knee behind the left and then setting it back down. So from here, we're just going to kind of walk and start to sit back. So you may not get all the way down. You may kind of have to hold yourself here, but now I'm trying to get the legs into this position. If you can come all the way down, this is called cow face pose. Sitting all the way down. Good. I'm going to take the right arm up and bend it, reaching behind your back. We're going to take the left arm out to the side. The thumb is up. Then turn the thumb down and see if you can reach your fingertips behind you. Just a couple of breaths here. A little harder if you're up. Oh, it's super hard. Yeah. So if you're up, don't do that. Come back. All right, we're going to uncross the legs and try the other side. So you pick up your left leg, you cross the left knee behind the right, you spread the heels wider and walk yourself back. So if you're staying here, you're staying here. If you're sitting down, cow face pose. If you're sitting down, we'll just make the same arm shape on the other side. The left arm reaches up and then bends so that you're reaching down in between your shoulder blades or in that direction. The right arm bends behind the back. Maybe wiggle your fingers closer together. If you're not sitting with your bottom on the floor, maybe you're still here. Still good for the hips. Good. Then uncross your legs. Beautiful. Let's take a downward facing dog. Curl those toes under and lift up. Pressing back. Letting your neck relax, your head hang. You can bend one knee. Press into the opposite heel. Bend the other knee. Stretching through the calves. Good. Just kind of turning upside down. Let the contents of your brain envision them Just sort of emptying out the top of your head as it hangs here toward the floor. Let's lift that right leg up. Good. Bend the right knee and open the hips. Good. Lift that leg back up. Square the hips. On an exhale, we're going to step that right foot to the outside of your right hand. Lower the back knee. So lizard, you got your right knee is outside your right shoulder, basically here. And we're going to slide the hips forward. Squeeze this knee in toward the shoulder. If this is enough, you stay here. If you want more, you lower your chest down. If you can come to the forearms, that would be the next option. If not, we're here. Just lowering that left hip toward the floor, squeezing this right knee in toward the tricep. Good. Shift the hips back and bring this right knee back to the floor. We're going to lift back up to downward facing dog, stretching through the shoulders and the backs of the legs, the whole back body. Take a few breaths in and out. Good. Then we're going to lift up that left leg, stretch it back behind you, up towards the sky. Then bend that knee, open the left hip. Then on an inhale, straighten that leg, lift it back up, square the hips. And as you exhale, step that left foot to the outside of your right hand. And we're going to lower the right knee to the floor. The left knee is to the outside of your left shoulder, left tricep. We're going to lower the hips toward the ground in front of you. If this is enough stretch, you stay here. If you want more, you begin to lower. Maybe your right arm comes all the way down, maybe the left. Maybe you stay right here. Good. Gently rock those hips back. We'll bring the left knee back to the floor. Just kind of swing those hips from side to side. Good. Curl the toes under. We'll come back up, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift that right leg up behind you. As you exhale, step forward. We're going to spin the back heel down and stand up into warrior two. So right knee bending, reaching toward the front of your mat. The chest turns to the side of the mat, the arms outstretched. Just get a little heat through that right thigh. So what you want to be doing here is there's sort of the basic shape, and then there's the energetics of the posture, and there's a lot of ways to work the energetics. So today what I want you to try is try pulling from the outer right knee back toward the right hip socket and send the inner right knee forward. So there's this, it's sort of like a plugging in, deepening this crease. It also may feel, as you're doing these actions, it may feel like maybe You could imagine your foot, the ball of your foot is like on the top of a jar and you're spinning it out like a clockwise turn. Good. Let's straighten that right leg now and tip over for a little triangle pose. You can bring your hand to your shin, or if you go down farther, you slide down a little farther. Triangle pose, looking up toward the top hand. Good. We're gonna come back down into the low lunge. So circle that top arm around, pick up your back heel. Good. And step back to downward dog. Letting your head and neck relax again. And then on an inhale, pick up your left leg, stretch it up to the sky behind you. As you exhale, big step forward to the low lunge. Spin that back heel down, and we stand up into warrior two. Again, we're gonna work this front hip. So it's the outer knee pulls back toward the hip and the inner knee reaches forward. And now from the foot, from the perspective of the foot, you can sort of engage this isometric action, pushing down into the floor, and it's a counterclockwise kind of turn. You're pulling this back, deepening this hip crease right here. So there's a lot going on here, and this back leg just kind of becomes like a cane, like your support. All this action going on here. Couple more breaths. And then we'll straighten that left leg and tip over that straight left leg toward triangle pose. Hand coming to your shin or sliding down a little further. You decide how far you go. Looking up toward the top hand. Then we're going to circle the top arm around, coming back into our low lunge, facing the front of your mat. And then we'll step back again, downward dog. Good. So let's look up toward the front of your mat. We're going to do pigeon. So you're going to bring your right knee forward, right knee to the floor, just behind your right wrist. The shin comes down and you'll scoot yourself back. So again, this is another one. I can't see you, so I don't know where you're at with this, but we're gonna stay upright in our pigeon today. And so one of the things I like to do is to curl these back toes under so that you've got a little something to push against, to sort of leverage. You can even lift yourself up. There's an action here where you're pulling this front hip back and you're pushing through the back leg to lift yourself up. So we're not even trying to sit down onto the floor. We're kind of up and we're working pigeon like it's a strength pose and not a stretchy, relaxing pose. It's not super relaxing to a lot of people anyway. So we're working this action. It's a scissoring of the legs to lift up. So we're not passively stretching these hips. We're working the muscles around them while they get a stretch. Good. Take one more deep breath in. And then bring your hands back to the floor and crawl back to downward dog. Pedal out the knees, feet. And we're going to go to the other side. So we're just going to bring that left knee forward now. Left knee to the floor, behind your left wrist. The left shin comes down. You can wiggle this foot up toward the right hand, or it can stay back. We're going to lower that right knee to the floor, and we're staying up. So I like to have the back toes curled under so that I can sort of push through the toes to steer this right hip forward while you're pulling the left hip back. And the result is to lift yourself up, and we're up a little bit. Working those muscles, pelvic floor, everything sort of lifting up as you scissor the legs actively. Good. Take one more breath in and out. Then crawl your hands back forward and step yourself back again to downward facing dog. Good. Here in down dog, bring your big toes all the way together. Lift up onto your tippiest toes. You're really on the balls of your feet and your toes. Bend your knees, and we're gonna twist, just not even a lot, just sort of dropping the right hip a little. You feel a stretch down the left side body. And then just a little to the other side. Left hip, swing over to the left, stretch through the right side of your body. Good, come back around, downward facing dog. We'll bend the knees, bring the knees all the way to the floor, and walk back to sit on your heels. Let's interlace the fingers behind your back and just stretch the shoulders back and chest up. Holding here, sitting on your heels, chest up. So you could lift the chest up without your shoulders rolling back, but try to roll the shoulders back too. You have the arms to help. Chest up, shoulders back, holding and breathing. Good. We're going to release the clasp of your hands. Stay sitting on your heels. We're going to do eagle arms. So you're going to cross your left arm over the right. Then you sort of bend this right arm and then wrap the left arm around. Your arms are all twisted up. You're going to lift those elbows up so that they're even with your shoulders. And try to turn your hands so that the twisting and wrapping of the arms results in at least one hand sort of being a karate chop to the front of the room. So you're not showing me the back of your hand, you're showing me the side of your hand. Elbows up even with the shoulders, and pull your hands a little bit away from your forehead, just a little. Tuck your chin down in towards your chest. Feel the stretch between your shoulder blades, up your neck. You can even take some deep breaths into that space to accentuate that stretch. So lift up your chin, unwrap your arms, and swing them out. So we did left over right. We're swinging and swinging. Now we're going to do right over left. You bend the bottom arm. You wrap the top arm. You try to turn the hands so that I'm looking at the side of your hand. Lift those elbows up, at least even with the shoulders. And then we're just pulling the hands a little away from your forehead. Tuck your chin down. Use your breath to create a little extra stretch in between your shoulder blades, up your neck, around the shoulders. Good. Lift the chin, unwrap your arms and swing them out. All right. From here, we're going to curl those toes under and sit back on your heels. Yeah. Stretching the toes, fire toes, stretch. We'll try to distract ourselves with some arms. So we're going to interlace the fingers behind your head and then pull your elbows back behind you. There's this big movement of the arms, and then when you sort of reach your limit, you can kind of squeeze the muscles in between the shoulder blades, activate those muscles. We're still stretching the toes. You can lift up whenever you need to, but come back down. Elbows back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, maybe lifting your chest a little more. You might feel like screaming. And it's okay, you can scream. I have you muted. All right, lower your chin. If you lifted it, release your arms, come off those toes. Yay, tap your feet out. Good. Then we're gonna come down onto your back. So make your way back down to your back, back to where we started. And extend your legs, reach your arms up over your head. Take a big full body stretch. Good. Lower the arms all the way back down. Bend the knees again. Bringing the soles of the feet to the floor and separating your feet a little wider. So we started with these windshield wiper movements. We're just going to take both knees over to the right now and pause. So you're just going to let them rest here. Again, we have an inner spiral on the left leg, an outer spiral on the right leg. If you want more of a sensation through your left thigh and left hip, we'll pick up the right foot and let it rest on top of that left knee. You can also pick up your left arm and reach it up. And then just kind of try to relax those legs. Relax your arm and shoulder. Relax through the belly as best you can. Good, let's lower that left arm. Put your right foot back on the ground. Gently pick up the knees, coming back to center. And then we'll let both knees fall over to the left. Again, just pausing here. Let gravity do all the pulling. If you want more sensation on that right leg, you'll pick up the left foot, let it rest on top of the right knee. You can reach your right arm up by your ear. and then soften. And lower your right arm back down. And put your left foot back on the floor. Gently lift up both knees. Feel your weight come back to evenness between both hips, both shoulders. You can rest with your legs in this constructive rest position, or you can extend your legs and separate your feet, maybe even as wide as your mat. Maybe roll the shoulders underneath you, flattening them out for a little solid support. You tuck your chin down a little bit, lengthening the back of your neck. Soften your rib cage. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Let it all out with a big sigh. Let all the muscles of your face relax. Your forehead, your eyebrows and eyelids. Relax your cheeks. Relax your jaw. Relax the root of your tongue. Relax your throat and your chest. As you soften through those organs of communication, perception, see if you can let everything else follow suit. And then become aware again of your breath. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing in fresh oxygen. Reawaken the body by making small movements with fingers and toes. Begin to move and wiggle bend your elbows and knees. And roll to one side on your way back up to seated. Just come to an easy cross-legged seat. Feel the weight of your body resting centered on the sitting bones. Feel the freedom of your breath as you take one more deep breath in. And exhale, bowing your head to your heart. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you so much for joining me today.